ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं तं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Jai Gurudev. Now we have seen how the insight into the principle of integrated life has been lost after Buddha. The next wave of revival came from Shankara. Every revival is bringing back this integrated life in connection with the self, in connection with the being. Shankara emphasized on self-realization, and this is based on the eternal philosophy of the integrated life expressed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And what did Krishna say to Arjuna? He said, be without the three gunas and then perform action while thus established in the being. All men should at all times live in bliss consciousness, and one should live in the state of fulfillment in God consciousness throughout all thought, speech and action. This is the essence of Shankara's message, and it is the essence of Lord Krishna's message, and actually the message of entire Vedic philosophy. So how did Shankara bring this about? He first restored the wisdom of the Absolute and established it in the daily life of the people with the practice of transcendental meditation. He strengthened the fields of thought and action by the power of being. He brought the message of fulfillment through a direct realization of transcendental being in the state of self-consciousness. This is the basis and the essence of the integrated life. The integrated life of being, thinking, and action. Shankara's revival is the most important, and it has been the lasting factor in the whole of the Vedic philosophy. In the course of time, this greatest gift of his knowledge and the revival of the integrated life has been lost, we will go into it further and see how it has been lost and how Gurudev and Maharshi brought the revival back of this great knowledge. But foremost, I want to bring about the misconception that is still going on around even today. His teaching lost its universal character and came to be interpreted as for the recluse order alone. The whole basis of Indian culture also began to be considered in terms of the recluse way of life founded on renunciation and detachment. Now it is time for us to remove this misconception and understand Shankara's revival completely and see how it can be useful for all of us in this generation and the generations to come. And this is the greatest gift of Maharshi for the whole world. Shankara himself expressed the highest state of human development. This highest state of human development is the fully developed mind and the heart. His heart expressed supreme transcendental devotion to God, known as Parabhakti, while his mind expressed awareness of the self as separate from the field of action, which is the Jnana. He could at the same time flow into the ecstasies of devotion and also express very clearly the knowledge, the dry and hard-headed truths concerning divine nature as detached from the world. He could express them, the whole knowledge, so beautifully. For Shankara, this devotion and knowledge were in unity. They were not two different things. They are the two aspects of the living reality of a life in complete fulfillment. So the greatest blessing that Shankara's teaching has offered to the world is the principle of fullness of intellectual and emotional development in the state of enlightenment, and this is based on transcendental pure consciousness. In this state of enlightenment, the heart is so pure as to be able to flow and overflow with waves of universal love and devotion to God, while the mind is so refined as to enjoy awareness of the divine nature as separate from the world of action. So as you can see, there is full development of the mind and the heart. And in this full development of the mind and the heart, then the devotion and the knowledge are both at its peak and in unity. Shankara not only revived the wisdom of integrated life and made it popular in his day, but also established the 4 principal seats of learning in 4 corners of India to keep his teaching pure and to ensure that it would be propagated in its entirety, generation after generation. For many centuries, his teaching remained alive in his followers, and his followers lived this ideal state of knowledge with devotion, jnana, and bhakti, both devotion and knowledge. But despite his foresight and endeavors, Shankara's message inevitably suffered with time the same misfortune as those of the other great teachers. The truth that being forms the basis of the state of enlightenment became obscure. It is no surprise that being was lost to view, for it lies in the transcendental field of life. The state of reality as described by the enlightened cannot become a path for the seeker. Shankara's statements about the nature of the goal were mistaken for the path to realization. The truth that being forms the basis of the state of enlightenment became obscured. His expressions of deep devotion, made in the state of complete surrender and oneness with God, and his intellectual clarifications, made in the state of awareness of the divine nature, they are both so full and complete in themselves. But when seen from the level of the ordinary consciousness or ordinary level of consciousness, they appeared to present two independent paths to enlightenment, the path of knowledge and the path of devotion. This is simply because of the difference in the level of the consciousness. This is the greatest tragedy of knowledge, when the knowledge must meet at the hands of the ignorance. The teaching is coming from one level of consciousness and is being received at quite a different level. So it is inevitable that this tragedy happens. All of this is because of the disconnection from the self, the being, and the knowledge not being in unity. This idea of two paths, the path of devotion and the path of knowledge, being different, became more and more predominant. This path, or this idea of two paths, became more predominant because of the carelessness of the custodians of Shankara's teaching. Now, if we have to look at who are the custodians of Shankara's teaching, they were following the recluse way of life. Shankara's custodians who followed the recluse way of life were naturally concerned with thoughts of the separateness of the divine from the world, and with the continuance of the situation, generation after generation, the aspect of knowledge began to dominate Shankara's tradition. The aspect of devotion gradually lost its importance. And all of this is because they did not have the same consciousness as Shankara had. Shankara's whole teaching has been bringing the integrated life, integration of the being, the thinking and the action, and the integration of the mind and the heart, the fully developed mind and the fully developed heart with this transcendental consciousness. As the principle of being began more and more to disappear from view, the paths of devotion and knowledge became more and more separate, and finally the link between them was lost. The principle of full development of heart and mind through one process, the transcendental meditation, was lost. The integral nature of realization was lost. The true wisdom of life's fulfillment, which lies in the simultaneous development of heart and mind, was lost. This idea that devotion and knowledge are necessarily separate has been the greatest blow to Shankara's teaching. Also, when the teaching became one-sided and deprived of its wholeness, it lost the universal appeal, and it came to be regarded as Mayavada, a philosophy of illusion, holding the world to be only illusory and emphasizing the detached way of life. In reality, this is not what Shankara intended. Shankara's teachings were for both the reclusive way of life and also for the householders, and his teaching was for the integrated life. And his teaching to develop the heart and the mind fully with the transcendental consciousness and experience the highest devotion and the knowledge in unity should not be forgotten. I will continue and we will look at what happened after Shankara and how the revival went on. Others came to revive, but Shankara has been the guiding light. His teachings are the eternal truths. His teachings and his wisdom cannot be replaced. And next we will see how Gurudev and Maharshi brought the revival of the knowledge and the foundation of the being for this integrated life and enlightenment. Jai Gurudev.